I've got one that can see.
All right, I pledge my heart. To the rainbow. Watch your head.
Good evening. The California Department of Education moving forward with changes to the state's health and sex education framework, a change that'll now encourage teachers to talk about gender identity, among other topics, with kindergartners.
We do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
I teach my elementary school students about gender identity. I teach my students that there's a whole spectrum of gender identity.
California Department of Education unanimously approved new guidelines for elementary school grades. The guidelines are about sex trafficking, sexual orientation, and how to support transgender and LGBTQ students.
The new health and sex education framework tells teachers that students as young as kindergarten can identify as transgender and offers tips on how to talk about different identities.
Comment on my classroom decor video about how parents might complain, and there's actually a way to be really sneaky about supporting specifically queer students in your classroom. Dropping a pink triangle somewhere in your room makes a huge difference because kids look for that, and so that's kind of a sneaky way to show your support if you're in an area that you might get some pushback on, but still want to make sure that you have things up that make your space inclusive.
The kindergartners came home very confused about whether or not you can pick your gender, whether or not they really were a boy or a girl.
The information our state board seems to want to give our third and fourth graders is too graphic to be shown on the nightly news.
Using close-up illustrations of children's and adults' private areas that would be shown to kids starting in third grade. Other books included topics such as gender fluidity, body changes, and guidelines to sexuality.
I have like the LGBT promotional, this is a safe community kind of stuff, the rainbow stuff all up in my room. And I told them, I'm like, if you look around the room, that should give you an answer to your question. So I did officially tell them. They, of course, went berserk. So instead of teaching social studies today, they just asked me a whole bunch of questions about being gay. So I think it was pretty well.
The goal of the transition closet is for our students to be able to wear the clothes that their parents approve of, come to school, and then swap out into the clothes that fit who they truly are.
My daughter went home crying, shaking, so afraid that she could turn into a boy.
In general, how do you feel about sex education in schools for your 7-year-old daughter?
What does this look like in the classroom? I mean, some people might be watching this right now and saying, oh, but children in grade 1 or 2 are too young to be learning about sexual orientation. What does this look like in that kind of, in a classroom? How do you talk to children about this? What does it look like?
I don't think that children are too young in grade 1 or 2 or kindergarten or when they're 3 years old. I think that children actually are very resilient and completely open-minded and non-judgmental.
We should be able to have discussions, and that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then personally, because my kids do have questions. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my classroom, and I should be able to speak to that.
People in my class are teaching us about Pride Month. So we've got a lot of art up here dedicated to Pride Month starting here in June.
Answer me why you're teaching pedophilia in school to 9th graders.
Teaching what?
Pedophilia, pederasty, right here.
Pederasty, as I discussed with you before, twice in my office when you've come to view the materials, I've explained to you that this is done because we are talking about historical perspectives of how gender relations and different types of sexual orientations have existed in history. So this is something, something that's occurred in history, and so this is really important for us to include.
older, let's get married. It's Garnet from Steven Universe.
Kids, don't be racist. You have to acknowledge racism to work against it.
If someone would be hurt like that, just because they're black.
Racism is so unfair. Buster, it happens everywhere. I was talking to Mrs. McGrady the other day. She said there's a really long history of black people not being treated fairly in this country.
It has to stop.
Well, racism is like a disease. If you don't treat it, it's just going to get worse.
Wait, if racism is a disease, can I get it?
Buster, don't worry. This isn't about you.
Actually, it is. It's about all of us. It's not enough to just say, I'm not racist. It's not my problem. We have to actively fight against racism.
Are we going to ask why kids are apparently learning about Thomas Edison?
Thomas Edison!
Ugh, and not learning about Lewis Latimer? These textbooks are incomplete. There were black Roman warriors, black medieval knights, black classical musicians, black cowboys, black fighter pilots. Where are they? I worry about you humans because you only live, about 100 years? You rely on these stories to know your own history. Thanks to systemic racism, most of your storytellers prioritize white accomplishments, which leaves you with an incomplete picture.
Hi, my name's Az and I'm a preschool teacher. So my classroom celebrates diversity. It's probably my favorite thing to teach. We usually use kids' books to talk about this kind of thing. Recently we started wearing pronoun pins, and the kids get to pick a new pronoun pin every day. We have some that pick like she, her every single day, and we have some that change it up.
But overall, how do you feel about calling your teacher Rosie?
Kids as young as 3 and 4 are actually aware of their gender identity, even if they don't have the language for it. Also very aware of who they like and who they don't like. Say that pre-K through 3rd grade are not ready for such topics is actually internalized homophobia and transphobia. They're very much ready for these topics and are way more accepting than adults when it comes to discussing these topics. We can talk about gender assumptions, pronouns, all the things.
And something cool about me, Miss Hammond? All right, so something that's really cool and unique about who I am is that I am transgender. So we touched a little bit about that at the beginning of this week in the book that Miss Hammond read, but I'm going to give you my explanation about what it means to be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy or a girl.
Cheers for Drag Queen Story Hour at the Eagle Rock Library. It's what the name promises, drag queen reading stories to children in libraries, schools, and bookstores. Pickle says she couldn't wait to read to the kids. She says Drag Queen Story Hour is a literacy program. The goal is to get kids excited about books, and particularly books like gender fluidity and or about gender fluidity and giving kids queer role models.
All right, so this is the last book that we're going to read. It's called This Day in June, and I love this book because every time I read it, I get more and more excited about the big Pride Parade. Who's been to the Pride Parade before? It's on June 30th this year downtown. It's always a great time. I will definitely be there. I hope to see all of you there.
Now, does anybody in this room know how to twerk? All right, well, it's quite important to the story, so I will just give you a very quick demonstration. All you need to do is you just stand with your feet sort of shoulder width apart, like so. Okay, and I'll show you at the side so you get a better view of it. And you crouch down into this sort of position here, so your thumb's sticking out. You're taking this all in. And then you just move your thumb up and down like that, and that's twerking.
Readings take place at libraries, museums, and other cultural centers in more than 30 cities across the country. Some are small affairs, but many, like the one in Washington, D.C., play to full houses.
It's just really been obvious that there was a need for this in our community.
The library partnered with the D.C. chapter of Drag Queen Story Hour to bring the family-friendly events to the nation's capital.
And I'm here.
It's because I'm the teacher that your parents warned you about. I'm the professor that's going to turn your kids leftist. Welcome.
We are grooming the new generation of Americans.
This is going to be the grooming of the next generation.
But then the library revealed this man, Albert Garza, a registered sex offender, was among those participating. He served time for aggravated sexual assault of an 8-year-old in 2008.
Well, it certainly has drawn a lot of attention from mayoral candidates to the governor himself. The revelation that a registered sex offender participated in a story time for children might be surprising in and of itself. And while that volunteer violated library policy 3 times, we've learned the sex offender didn't do anything illegal by volunteering to work with children.
What has this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
Please welcome Desmond Napolis, a.k.a. Desmond is amazing.
Lactatia is the deviest diva you could ever think of. Hello, my name is Nemes. I am 9 years old, and I am a drag princess named Lactatia. As Lactatia, I lip sync and I dance and I vogue and I spin around in my poofy dresses. I just be nice and gracious to everyone. My interest in drag sparked when my sister one day she came into my room and said, oh my god, Emma told me that this is this RuPaul's Drag Race thing and we have to watch it right now. Today's a special day because I'm starting blockers. They stop female hormone things.
So how sure are you that you want to do this?
Positive. Doing this for myself.
This is this is what's gonna help you, okay?
3, 2, 1.
Breathe, breathe.
Where's Brett's dad?
Max goes to Boston Children's Hospital, which opened the first clinic for transgender youth in the U.S. Since 2007, they've treated hundreds of children and teens.
In the past couple of years, our volume has just about doubled.
I'm a girl.
Who told you you were a girl?
Mommy.
When did she tell you you were a girl?
Because I love girls.
Oh, I see. So mommy told you you were a girl?
Uh-huh. My name is Jacob, and I'm a 9-year-old transgender American. My question is...
All
right, hold
The idea that an 8-year-old child or a 10-year-old child decides, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'll make my life a lot easier. There should be zero discrimination.
When I talk about being too far gone, I don't really know what else to call it. This is what I mean. This is how deep my voice is. It's gotten deeper over time, and it's settled. This is what I mean by hair loss. And it just keeps getting worse. It keeps thinning. It keeps receding backwards. And I'm not exactly sure that's coming back. Those are the main things when I talk about being
Most people seem to walk away having a good time.
Start them young, right? Start them young, right?